Alright guys, what is up? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm working on the Ninja. So a couple days ago when I was changing the oil, I noticed that I had a small coolant leak coming somewhere from like the bottom of the engine. The leak, I could see that the leak was coming from like somewhere right here, but I couldn't exactly figure out where the leak was coming from. I followed where the drips of the dry coolant were coming from, and it looked like this main hose that attaches to the head of the engine up there. There's a small puddle of coolant underneath there. It's not like super major, but still major enough where I have to change it. So after following that leak, I could see that there's coolant puddled up where this hose connects to the head. In order to fix that, I have to pretty much take the whole gas tank off just so I can go on top and get to that hose and kind of even see what's going on. I got all the bolts off right here in the back of the tank, the bolts in the front, I got those off. Right now the tank should just come right up. I'm gonna go ahead and take this tank off and then we'll see where this coolant's leaking from. Now that the bolts are all off, the tank should just pop off right now. Oh, look at that. There's like fuel lines attached to it. Yeah, we don't want no gas leaking, so I'm gonna have to figure out the best way to do this right now. Once I take the tank off, I think I can reach the overflow tank and I can reach the radiator hose that attaches to the head. So now I just gotta figure out what to do with this tank, and I should be able to fix that hopefully. Let me go ahead and take this tank off and then I'll show you guys what's underneath. Alright, as you can see, I have the tank off halfway. I don't want to like disconnect all the fuel lines and all that kind of stuff. From here, I think if I remove the reservoir tank, I should be able to get to where that hose attaches to the head and figure out what's going on with that leak. But I'm going to go ahead and take this reservoir tank off, and then we should be able to get to that hose. We have to unbolt the tank so we can lift it up a bit, but we don't have to fully remove it. Alright, so as you can see guys, I got the coolant reservoir tank out from underneath the gas tank. I'm going to go ahead and clean that up later and then reattach that after. But from here, I should be able to reach this main coolant hose right here. But yeah, the radiator hose goes all the way up here and then it attaches to the head right there. So what I think is that where it attaches to the head over there, if you could kind of see, if you could see my finger, this hose right there, you see that clamp right there? I think that's where the leak is coming from, because if you look right underneath, there's coolant dripping right underneath there. But if you could see where this hose attaches to the head of the engine, there's that white dried coolant. So I'm pretty sure that leak is literally coming from this main hose behind these two little hoses. I'm going to go ahead and loosen this hose clamp. I'm going to clean off that attachment point. We're probably going to lose some coolant. It's going to spill. Hopefully I'm going to look at the hose, make sure there's no holes in it, and then try to put everything back together. The radiator hose where the leak was coming from, I went ahead and undid that clamp. I cleaned everything off. I inspected the end of the hose. After I cleaned it, it looked like there was no holes or anything in it, so I put it back on there. I tightened it up really good. So I tightened up all the hose clamps on all the radiator hoses that are down there, as well as cleaning them all off. So far it looks like nothing's leaking. There's no drops of coolant or anything. I also went ahead and the two hoses that attach to the overflow tank, I went ahead and cleaned them all out and cleaned the ends of them and everything. Overflow and the return from the actual radiator itself, I disconnected it and cleaned it up and everything. So hopefully we have no more leaks after this. If what, I might have to get new silicone radiator hoses. Hopefully that solves our issue. Now I'm just gonna have to go ahead and put the reservoir back in there, fill it up with some distilled water, reconnect all the hose lines to the reservoir. Then we should be able to put the tank back on and throw the fairings back on, and hopefully that fixes our issue. I'm going to change the coolant in a little bit in the next video. For now, this should solve our problem. But right now, I'm just going to go ahead and fill everything up, reconnect everything, and I'll just check the level of the coolant. And if I smell anything or if I see any drips, I'm going to have to do this all over again. But hopefully, cleaning up all the fittings and the hose, tightening up all the hose clamps solve the issue. So let's go ahead and reconnect everything, throw the reservoir back on, fill it up, and put the bike all back together. So let's get it. Well, also one more thing, when you're taking this thing out of there, or when you're moving the tank, be very careful, because right there, that's the fuel rail, and you do not want to damage it, or else you'll have a fuel leak, and that's going to be really bad. So make sure you're super careful with the fuel lines right here and the fuel rail right there. So be careful. We got some distilled water to fill up the reservoir tank. Alright, we should be good. Now let's put the rest of the bike back together and hopefully that solves our leak issue. We're going to keep checking, making sure there's no leaks. If not, we're going to have to replace all the hoses. Honestly, there was a couple loose hose clamps that I think were causing the leak. And after cleaning everything off and reattaching all the clamps and tightening them up really well, I think that should fix the issue. So let's go ahead and put everything back together and let's get it. Also, while the fairings are off and the bike is like kind of taken apart, it's also nice to kind of like the areas that you never get to. It's good to kind of like clean them up, like in there, on the frame, around the tank. Just get some cleaner or detailing spray, just kind of clean it up. It keeps the bike clean when you're working on it in the future. Alright, it's literally 3 a.m. I just finished the bike. Hopefully that fixed the leak. Hopefully we have no more issues. The bike has fresh oil in it, ready for the ride tomorrow, ready to rip it. So I'm just going to keep looking, making sure that there's no other leaks. All the hose clamps are tightened down, everything's cleaned up inside, so that should fix the issue. If not, we're going to have to take it all apart again, put new hoses on, and see what else is causing the issue, but hopefully we fixed it. So hope you guys liked that video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.